Hi guys, Chris here. Today I've got all of my audio kit out. I'm going to be doing some location recording tomorrow, so I'm just doing a quick itinerary of everything, just checking everything's working and making sure everything's charged up, ready to go. It's always a good thing to do if you're doing any sort of location work. Just make sure that you've checked your equipment the day before in case there's any issues, and make sure you've got everything charged fully and ready to go. Last thing you want to be doing is turning up on set and, oh crap, I haven't charged this, or oh, I forgot this. So I always do an itinerary the day before and just make sure everything's where it's meant to be and everything's working right as it's meant to, just to save face. You know, I've seen it before where people have turned up and they haven't had equipment needed. I won't name names, but it did actually happen in an exam in university. Anyway, so enough of that, let's go through it. So first off, I've got the windshield, which is a Boya one. It's actually come from China, this. It's like a clone of a more expensive one. But the Boya WS 1000 professional windshield and suspension system. I've actually just had this out before, testing it. It's the first time I've used it live. It's really good. It's a good quality build. And yeah, I think it'll do the job well. As you can see, I've actually dismantled it so it can go inside this Makita case. If you look down the channel there's the suspension. So those red semicircle things hold the microphone in place, and it's like elastic bands that keep it suspended in midair so you don't get any vibration come through. This here is like a kind of like a pair of tights, acts as a windshield, so it just stops the wind hitting the microphone directly. It'll absorb the wind into it, and on top of that you've got the famous dead cat, which is fake fur that just also deflects the wind, stops it from hitting the mic. Okay, moving on to the microphone itself. Tomorrow I will be using my Rode NTG 3B. It's a shotgun microphone. As you can see, it's quite a long shotgun microphone. The idea of shotgun microphones, if you're unaware, this here rejects the sound, so the sound actually comes down this hole here, so it's really directional. It'll essentially, if you point it in a direction, that's kind of roughly the sound it's going to pick up, is a straight line from it, like a laser beam. It does pick up a little bit from either side, but it's really good for cancelling out all the noise around you. This is why this combination's used, you know, for recordings, location recordings. Now on top of the Rode NTG 3, I've actually got myself one of these Triton audio Fethead phantoms, which just goes in between the Xlr cable and the microphone itself. So that plugs into the bottom of the microphone and the Xlr goes into it. What this does, it gives, I think it's 10 decibels of clean gain. So that means if your microphone, say if your person's not speaking loud enough and you need to go to your whatever interface you're using and turn the gain up a bit more, what happens with that, you've got a noise floor, so the electronics actually add in like a bit of hiss and, you know, rumble and whatnot into the sound itself. This gives you the gain without adding any distortion, any harmonic distortion at all. It's witchcraft. I don't know how they do it, considering it's, you know, just this little tiny thing here, but oh my god, it's fantastic. It's like one of the best things I've purchased to go in the chain. And it, like I say, it just means that if I'm working off the camera's usually the audio interface built into them, you know, isn't the greatest. So if you're turning the gain up, you're just putting a load of noise into the actual recording. So it means I can keep the gains low on that, but still have the sound coming in really clean and clear. I think I paid about £70 for this, but it's absolutely fantastic. There's other companies making them. Obviously, I'm just telling you about this one because this is the one I bought. Okay, so moving along, I have the Rode Wireless Go system. There's part of it there. That's the transmitter. And on charge over here is the receiver. And with that, I've got a lavalier mic as well. So that's the type of mic that you clip onto your shirt and you tuck all the wiring out the way so it can't be seen. This does have its own microphone built into it, which I think think is there, if you can see that. Sorry about my fingers, they're a bit messed up. Yeah, so that has a microphone, so you could actually plug that onto your shirt. I think I've done that in one of my videos. But if you're filming something, you know, like acting wise, you don't want that big unit sticking in the way. So that's where I will hide this somehow on the top so that it can't be seen. You know, either put a light scarf around it or something. Not too sure just yet what I'm going to do. Obviously, I'll find out more when I get there tomorrow and see what the actual brief is for what I'm doing. Okay, so moving along, XLR cable. I actually have my main one, which is a Van Damme tour grade, I think it is. Where does it say? It says somewhere. Jesus Christ, there we go. Van Damme tour grade classic. Great cable, solid, well made. I think they've got nitric connectors on the ends. Yep, nitric connections, really good quality. Fantastic, I've got one of those. I also keep a backup just in case anything happens to that. I'll probably actually get a third one as well. I know it's a bit paranoid, but if you're out in the middle of nowhere doing some filming and your cable dies and you haven't got a backup, you're knackered. That's the end of the shoot. You know, so always make sure you've got backups of everything. You'll notice a bit of a running theme here now that I've got backup. I mean, the actual lavalier system is the backup to the shotgun mic system. And I've also got some field recorders as well, which I'll probably bring into use at some point. It all just depends on how it goes, really. But I've got options available to me. That's kind of what you need. Okay, so the 3.5mm cable, which is for the Rode Wireless Go system, that just plugs it into whichever interface you're recording to. And then I have a backup one of those as well, which is just basically the same thing but a bit longer. Next to that, that's it, just a USB cable, don't worry about that. Headphones. So these are my Sennheiser HD25s. These are my everyday use headphones. DJ with them, put them in the laptop to listen to them, use them when I'm recording, location recording. Great, fantastic. Cheapo pair backup headphones. They break, I've got them. Don't particularly want to use them, I can't even remember what they are, they're terrible. But they're just there as a backup just in case. So always just in case, because you know, if you don't have a backup set of headphones, then you're essentially recording blind, or deaf, should I say. You know what I mean? You've got no way of knowing what you're actually listening to and what's coming into the system because you can't hear it. So at least if you've got a set of headphones plugged in, you can hear how it sounds and as it's being recorded. Moving on, I have two power bricks. These have just got little USB parts on them. I have two of them. One I'll probably use to plug the GoPro into. Not really using the GoPro, it's more just for reference. I'll just be recording everything so I can see exactly what I'm listening to at the same time. I'll probably just put this pathetic excuse of a shotgun mic onto record. So it's just so I can visually see what the audio is that I'm working with. I know the camera's capturing that as well, but this is just for my own purpose. It just makes life easy for me. I can just look back through and reference things. So yeah, I'll probably have that plugged in. A good tip for you, if you don't have, if you haven't tried it, you can actually run a GoPro off a power brick. And what it'll do is it'll just use all of the power in this first, and once that's gone, it will then move on to the internal battery. Now, the internal batteries last for roughly about an hour, which is no good. You know, if you're doing a longer shoot, you're going to be changing the battery every 5 minutes, well, every 1 hour, but you know what I mean. So with an external power supply, you can keep this running as long as you need, as long as the card will keep going in it. So yeah, that's what I do generally. Even on the motorbike, when I'm recording on the motorbike, I've actually got one of these power bricks in my top pocket with a little cable coming out and going straight into the camera. It works fantastic, it's brilliant. Okay, that's enough of that. Let's move on. So, recording device number one, the Tascam Dr100 Mk2. Hello. I bought this second hand. It actually came from a college that had closed down in London, and they were selling everything on eBay. They did sell it as not working, but it does work and it works really well. Only thing is there's a little piece missing there. See, that one's got two, that one's got one. But that's cosmetic, it doesn't affect the actual sound quality. So this has got two mics here, and it's also got two Omni mics on the front of it, and you can switch between them. The good thing about this Tascam system is that it's got two XLR ins. So if I'm not taking my laptop somewhere and I need to do a bit of recording, I will just take this out with me and just plug the shotgun mic straight into this and record. It's got an SD card built into it somewhere. It's in there somewhere, and it's also got a battery, and the battery does work, it does charge up, but as a backup it's got the battery compartment there for plugging in those things which have just finished charging. So I've got two AA batteries which will go in. Yeah, so obviously if everything fails on the battery on this, if I run out of battery, it'll then switch automatically onto the AA batteries. Next to this, I've got my Zoom H2N. This is just me sort of backup nowadays. At one point this was like the main one I used. It's good, it's got good quality, you know, it's not the greatest sound quality in the world, but it's okay. It's got different modes as well. You can set it to mid-sides, it's a 4-channel, 2-channel, or you've got XY. So there's different combinations of how it's going to record the sound. Usually I just find myself in the XY position and having it facing forward. Just depends on what you're needing it for, really. It's fairly versatile. Obviously it can be mounted. The only downside to this over the Tascam really is probably there's no XLR inputs into it. You do have a line in, which I've never used, but you can plug a microphone into it, and just use, basically override the internal microphones and just use an external one plugged in. I've never done that, but you know, I'm sure you can. Quality wise, I think they both record up to 96 kilohertz. The sound quality is fairly clean, there's not too much THD coming into it. They're not the best devices in the world, but they'll do the job. And here I have the two mounts I use. This one here has the Rycote suspension on it, as you can see there. Whoa, give it a little wobble. And that basically just reduces the amount of vibration that's going to the microphone itself, because obviously if you touch a microphone it'll pick up the vibration, and if you're handling this thing then it will do, but it'll put less noise to the mic if you've got this Rycote in front of it. It's a really good little device. This is a tripod one, so it opens out and you can place it down anywhere you need. That's the one I use mostly, but I also have on this little extension pole. So that actually will go in between, it'll go on top of that, and then the Rycote will sit on top of this. This is a firm grip. This is just handier if you just know you're going to be holding and walking around with the microphone itself and not needing the tripod. It's got a rubber grip in it, so that actually takes some of the vibration out. And I also wear a pair of gloves as well. Another little top tip for you, I actually use my Motorbike Gloves, which are over here. Oh, I turned them on. Making a mess everywhere. So these things, this is what you normally see me wearing when I'm on my motorbike. But if you're wearing them, obviously you make a bit of a ruffle, but if you're just careful when you hold onto the grip here, it actually makes less noise. It puts a softer layer in between your hands and the pole itself. Yeah, so that's just another top tip, just wearing a pair of gloves. Okay, so I'm nearly finished. The last thing I'm going to show you is my Focusrite, the Scarlett 2i4. This is just my sort of location audio recording device. I do use it in the house as well. It's pretty handy. I've got bigger ones which have got like 8 and 16 inputs in, you know, which if you're recording like a band or such, you'd be using them. But just for the good thing about this is it's bus powered, so it just means that I can plug it straight into the laptop and I don't have to worry about like carrying a power supply with it. It'll be powered from the laptop itself. It's got 2 XLR ins, yet again, so probably tomorrow, I don't know yet, I'm not too sure what the situation is. I'm either going to go straight into the camera, which would be ideal just because that automatically locks the sound to the image that's being recorded. Don't need a clapperboard. But if not, I've got this as a contingency. It just means I can plug into my laptop, record everything into Logic, and then go back through it later and edit it. So as you can see, guys, there's a lot of gear going on here. It's probably really is overkill, let's be honest, but I can happily know I'll go to the job tomorrow and I've got options. You know, I'm not going to get caught out on anything. You know, if the worst comes to the worst, I can go from, okay, shotgun mic, that breaks. Okay, well, I can move onto the lav and get the audio from the lav. If the lav goes down, I've got the Tascam. I could, at a push, put the Tascam onto a boom pole and record through that. Not great, but it can be done. And if that fails, I'm on the Zoom. So, you know, there's loads of different options going for me. And obviously having the power bricks just means if I need to charge them up at some point, I can just throw them on for a half hour as well and give them another charge back up. Yeah, so there you go. That's a little walkthrough of the gear I'm using. If you like, and if it's any use for you, great. Drop us some comments and stuff. Sorry it's not that technical, it's kind of just on the fly really. I just thought I'd film it all for you. And I'll be doing some more mad stuff soon probably. Okay, have a good day everyone. I'll see you all later. Ta-da.